There's a lot of good systems. So if you're new to this business, if you're Googling, hopefully the keywords helped you find this video, and you're new to this and you're still in cosmetology school, it's important for us to send you the message that there are many, many options to be successful.
Yes.
It's not just one thing. But the one thing you need to know is, what are you good at? What motivates you? What's your passion? So speaking of passion, so let's go back to your resume. So we got halfway. I keep interrupting.
Yeah. So started at JCPenney,
right.
and from there built up a clientele to the point where I could be a rental stylist, and that's pretty much what I've been doing since, is being on my own and maintaining and building a clientele. Somewhere in that, I did start my journey as an educator.
There we go. That's
but
what
I never stopped doing hair behind the chair.
Right.
And so I think that is a very important point, because there might be some people out there that have the misconception of when you get tired of doing hair, then you become an educator. And it should be quite the opposite.
Yeah.
If I am an educator, I need to be even more engrossed in this industry. I need to be behind the chair with my hands working in hair
all the time
to be able to deliver the information to an audience.
So let's talk about, what do you do as an educator? Talk about that.
Sure. So right now I have kind of two roles that I play as an educator. The first one is I'm on the advanced education team for Paul Mitchell Schools.
Okay.
So
Paul Mitchell Education.
Yep.
Paul Mitchell Schools, yeah.
Yeah, and so
education.
it's with the schools.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many schools around the country and even internationally, and they're all amazing. So my role is to go to different schools and train their staff of learning leaders.
Yeah, so
they're educators.
You train teachers to train the new hairdressers, the future professionals, we call them at Paul Mitchell.
Yeah, and so they're educators. Once they have training with me, they also have a certification process.
Okay.
Where they basically stand up in front of me, do a mock class, and I would give them coaching and feedback on their class as far as content and presentation skills. So it is a really nice checks and balances, and that's why I do go to these different schools. It's specifically for hair color and just teaching methodology, making sure that future professionals in Paul Mitchell schools are getting the best of the best. I also write curriculum. That's really not as glamorous, but
that's important.
It is important because
that's really cool.
All of the Paul Mitchell schools, we use the same curriculum and lesson plans, and we update twice a year mostly, and so we're keeping it like really fresh, and I think it's cool, but I think a lot of people would think the best part of my job is the traveling and teaching, but really the most important part of my job is writing the curriculum.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way to put it. So like the glamorous thing is like you travel around, you meet people, you teach them, but you actually have a requirement as an educator to be able to write curriculum.
Absolutely.
That seems really hard. How do you do that?
I do
I write a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I write about me. If it's about me, I'm good at that. I'm not sure about anything else. Mm-hmm. So like, how do you do that? How do you write curriculum?
It first comes
for
from
teachers.
It first comes from an understanding of how people learn best, and Paul Mitchell Schools has done a really great job of integrating multiple intelligence and really seeing how our future professionals learn best and teaching that way. So it starts with really just understanding how somebody's going to comprehend. And then also when we grow our lesson plans, it's mostly what's trending in the industry and how can we help them to be more successful.
So you were talking about the methods of learning?
Yes.
Or so expand on that a little bit. What is that?
Sure. Definitely.
Because that's a big deal. Some people might, what is that?
It's a huge deal, and it's actually what sets Paul Mitchell Schools apart from any other school out there is we have our future professionals take an exam to see how they learn best. You remember yours?
I remember
and
I don't remember how I learned best, but
because everybody is smart, we're just smart in different ways, and we all learn differently. And so it's important as an educator to...
It's like hands-on.
Exactly. Body kinesthetic.
Talking.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Math logic, spatial, you have to see things.
Let's see.
interpersonal, intrapersonal.
I think I have to see them, not do them to get it. Like, I think that's who I am.
Yeah. So you're a little bit more visual? Spatial.
Yeah.
Yep.
Spatial.
I'm very spatial.
Yeah.
In more, more ways than one.
Why we connect.
Yeah. No, I'm super spatial. So
super spatial.
It sounds weird.
It sounds like...
It's true.
Are you spatial?
I'm very spatial.
Okay, we're very spatial together, spatially. So,
yeah, but
so the modes of learning.
It's really unique because, you know, if I am spatial, a spatial learner, then
Spatial.
then my inclination would be
spatial.
to teach spatially.
So
So using a lot of charts and diagrams and
okay,
visuals
so
and
also
posters.
you learn how the kind of teacher you are.
But I can't just teach that way because there's other people in my classroom who don't connect to that type of teaching.
Well, it's also what you're teaching as well.
I have to be very dynamic and teach to all of the different learning types to make sure that everybody is getting something from my class.
Got it.
And so
That's hard.
It is hard, and
it's a lot of fun. It's probably rewarding when you make that happen.
Yeah, it's great, but it's absolutely necessary because when I went to school, I went to a traditional learning type school, and basically our theory class was, you know, get your notebook out, and I'm going to put a film up on the screen. What are those? A projector, right?
Right, yeah.
And
those old things.
Our teacher would just read off of the projector. That was it. That was the class.
Are you talking about like not cosmetology school or
cosmetology school?
Really? You had a projector?
It was a projector. And
now it's like iPads and shit like that.
No. So imagine just like this sheet of the My Lady book and somebody just reading it to you.
My Lady
That's
book
probably
is
why I didn't
the textbook for
the textbook. That's probably why I didn't do so good is because
that's hard.
It was just like wah wah wah.
Yeah.
You know, but it was a long time ago, and now it's different. And Paul Mitchell as a company has partnered with experts to really understand how people learn best, and that's not how most hairdressers learn. So for me, it's nice because I've been on the other side and I've seen traditional type learning, and then I've seen the way we do it, and I think it's really unique.
Wow.
That's important.
Yeah, it's really important. That's a really good way to break it down.
Yeah, it's more fun, it's interactive, it's engaging, and that's when I go to other schools, that's what I'm motivating their learning leaders to be, is engaging in the classroom to keep the focus and attention from their learners.
Well, they should be able to, you should be able to impart that to the teachers.
I do.
Right?
Yep.
And that's important.
Most definitely.
They should be better at teaching after, not just better at the technique, but better at actually educating after spending time with you. 'Cause that's
absolutely. Yes, it comes hand in hand of ownership of the information, but also how to deliver the information
effectively.
Yep, exactly.
So that brings me to, okay, you're a national educator. Is that what being a national educator is?
That is being
just
on the Paul Mitchell Advanced Education
Education Team. Okay.
So that is with the schools. My other job.
Your other job.
I have a lot of jobs.
Yeah, me too. We all do.
My other
You should have a lot of jobs too.
No, don't have a lot of jobs.
Yeah, 4.
Don't. It's a trap.
Look at us.
Yeah. So my other job is being a national educator for John Paul Mitchell Systems. So this is the product side, the product and the technique.
Got it.
So when I go and teach for them, I am teaching in salons.
Right.
So I have a whole different audience.
Right, which are professionals already in the business, all different age. I guess age is a good way to say it. Or years of experience. A lot of diversity with that. That's interesting.
Definitely. So I come into your salon. I introduce new products that we have, color, cutting, style. I do everything for that company.
Wow, that's a lot.
Updates, and we just have fun. I usually do models or doll head and really get hands-in learning, usually 2-hour blocks of time for those classes.
And the Paul Mitchell company says, hey, go to this place.
Yep.
And you go.
Exactly. Any salon that carries anything Paul Mitchell, there's so much educational support from the company.
Yeah,
so
that is true.
They
really,
want to send you educators.
I'll say when I had my salon, Paul Mitchell was amazing. Really incredible. And they've always been incredible. I'm Paul Mitchell for life. You know, it's always going to be, I'm always going to be part of the family, even though I'm not always using Paul Mitchell now or always doing Paul Mitchell things.
Right.
I mean, that was it. Like, if it hadn't been for Paul Mitchell, I wouldn't have known anything, and you and other really great people that took time to, like, impart in me.
Right.
So, now you do stage work, too. So I want
Yes.
to talk about that. So let's talk about, so how did you get to stage work from those two things?
Luck of the draw.
So,
no.
Paul Mitchell has big nationwide conferences, right?
Hair shows, conferences. Yeah, we have lots of.
So you go on stage.
Yes.
And there's like what, 1,000, 2,000
or more. It depends where I am.
So it's either students at Caper or at the gathering, right?
The gathering
the big
or
Paul Mitchell
local hair shows.
Or hair shows. So talk about, like, what is it like to be on stage? Because a lot of people watching this, they're in school and they see everything on YouTube and they see all these people doing videos and they want to be on stage. Like, oh, I want to do that. Like, talk about that feeling. Like, first of all, talk about how hard that is. Like, how nervous a person gets, and then talk about how to get through.
You know what, though?
Do you not get nervous anymore?
Not to, like, yeah.
Did you used to in the beginning?
No.
Really?
That's the thing is,
I mean, people are different. Like, I always get nervous, but I mean, I fight through it. After a few minutes, I'm not.
There's, like, a certain level of nerves and stress, but for the most part, I'm very, like, zen. Before I go on stage, it's comfortable. And actually, most of the times, I would say I am more comfortable on stage teaching to thousands of people than I am in a small group.
Or one-on-one in front of a camera.
Right. Yeah. You know, and, like, that's, like, my natural habitat.
So do you thrive on it? You like it?
Love it. Yeah, it just doesn't freak me out.
So how do you get asked? Like, a lot of people are like, well, how do you get there, right? So how do you get, I mean, obviously people see the work you're doing and you know people in the business, like, oh, we can trust her, she's can perform really good, she's reliable. Like, how does that happen? Like, talk about the moment where you're like, wow, like, I'm doing this. Like, talk about that. Like, when you weren't doing it and then all of a sudden you got asked to do it and then, like, you're doing it. Like, because there's that moment, right?
That's the thing. You should be doing it all the time.
Okay.
You don't do it when you're asked to do it. It's your work off stage is more important than your work on stage, and that's where a lot of people fall short.
I like that.
It's responsibility. It's not just your talent. Anybody can go on stage like, I'm the best, but it's really what you're doing behind the scenes. And so being supportive, being the same person, like authentic, I think is really attractive. And that's why I do get asked to do a lot of stage work, is because it's a seamless transition for me. I'm the same person on stage than I am off stage.
Do you remember the first time you got asked to do it? Like that. Talk about that moment.
Like maybe the first time I got asked to teach at Caper.
Sure. Yeah, that would be.
I mean, it's the same. Cool, the same reaction.
Really? So you're like, no big deal.
No, huge deal.
I don't mean it like that. But you're like, okay, you like rose to the challenge.
Well, yeah, you don't say no to opportunities like that.
Right, but like, it didn't scare you. Like, it scares me.
No.
Like,
no.
I mean, I don't mind talking in front of, like, I can do it. I've done it. I've done certain things like that in different ways. Right. And I've done a lot of TV. That is different. But I still get nervous. How do you are you just naturally not nervous? How do you overcome?
No, I'm a very naturally nervous person. I'm a warrior.
How have you mastered that?
I have a lot of experience of public speaking.
Okay.
That's really why. Yeah. From a very young age, being involved in youth organizations that had public speaking in my personal life. I mean, I would say I probably started doing that when I was 10.
Okay.
From 10 to 20.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Of being in different.
So you're like me, you like naturally, like I took acting classes when I was a kid. People don't know that. Took acting classes and I was very musical, and I can actually sing a little bit. Something I did. I took a lot of music lessons.
Yeah.
So a lot of that got me to a point to where I wasn't afraid of being on stage or in front of people.
Yeah. So if you think
Okay.
about it, most of my life I have been on a stage in some way, shape, or form, whether it was public speaking. I showed animals for like 4-H. Don't laugh at me.
I didn't say anything.
All right.
I think that's great. I like animals.
I'm
a big animal
choir
guy.
and plays and things like
so,
that.
let's go back to 4-H. So, did you wear
Oh,
like the,
God.
the,
Yeah, I
the
wore
4-H
the
outfit?
Next, I wore the outfit.
Good. And then what was your favorite animal in 4-H?
Sheep.
Sheep. So, okay. What's the big deal about sheep in 4-H? Like, what's the thing with sheep?
Yeah, it's kind of a girly thing.
All right.
I don't think there's a thing with it.
Is there like a way you should talk to the sheep? Like,
no.
talk to the animals?
Well, you should love them, and
Love
you have
your
to
sheep?
feed them. It was responsibility. It taught me a lot of responsibility
Okay.
at
All
a very young
4-H
age.
is good.
And
Nothing wrong with that at
showmanship.
all. I think it's a cool thing.
I mean,
I didn't grow up around
it
a lot of
somehow
animals.
has served me in my adult life with responsibility,
Well, 'cause
showmanship.
You mentioned it, yeah. Like it did
And,
affect you. So all of you parents, get your kids a 4-H
Yeah, and I did
task.
FFA, Future Farmers of America.
Okay,
and
isn't the same?
it's
thing?
like the grown-up version.
The grown-up. Okay.
When you're in high school
Future
and junior
farm.
high.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that. Okay.
And so we actually
Alright.
had like officers and things like that, and Parley Pro is what you called it, where you did debating, more public speaking.
So you
I just
okay.
have like
So you from an early age you were trained to be
I
in front
would
of
say
people.
9 or 10.
So what would you recommend? Some people are very nervous about those kind of things, but
Sure.
being in front of people is really critical to being a hairdresser or a makeup artist, right?
Yeah.
So what would you because you're like
Yeah.
one-on-one with someone, a consultation, you're meeting strangers all the time.
Yeah.
The goal is to actually get new people to visit you. I still bring new people in even though I don't have enough time like I used to.
Definitely.
You still bring in new clients.
I do.
It's something you get better at as you do it. So it all kind of translates together. What would you recommend to someone that doesn't really know how to do that? Like how to not be nervous around people. And they've never been trained.
Get over it.
Get
I
over
don't,
it.
I mean,
Just be like tough on yourself
You have to get over it, and it doesn't mean that if somebody is very shy that it won't work in this industry, because actually, like, I do consider myself very shy.
I can see
but
that.
You
a
put
little
me
bit.
on a stage, I'm not shy at all,
You
because
do-
it's
you
a
p-
different
you
element.
perform.
I'm a performer.
Yeah.
So if you can figure out how to always be on stage and always performing, so if that means you develop this not character but a persona about
Sure.
yourself
Sure.
and go with that, I think that is really helpful.